It's a beautiful afternoon. It's winter still here, and we're at the beach observing these beautiful waves crashing towards us. There's something about, you know, watching the storm happening and you are nice and safe, you know, protected from the elements just by being in the car. This whole, you know, watching the storm and the waves reminded me of an event, a story that took place several years ago while I was living with my family in South Korea. It was somewhere at the end of the summer, and it was still, you know, a good time to go camping and to go swimming. However, we ended up going, or you know, doing this camping trip on a weekend that, you know, this huge storm hit South Korea. At that time, we didn't really pay attention to weather forecasts. There was not that many applications or, you know, warnings beforehand that things like this would happen. We just packed up and went camping. So when we arrived to the beach and we set up a tent, we had no idea that we would wake up to this absolutely amazing tropical storm. The winds were so strong and they caused the waves to be just splashing, you know, like they are doing now. I wish I could turn the camera around, but you can imagine how it is, you know, when the waves are just splashing and hitting the beach. But it was middle of the summer, and it was still warm, even though it just looked stormy and these waves were just crashing. So in the morning we decided to pack up and leave back. But before we did that, you know, my children and myself decided to go down to the beach and have some fun. And there we found this huge rope. Being, you know, a father of the year that I am, and having, you know, two boys who were young, maybe around, I would say 7, 8, 10 around that time, and full of, you know, that spirit that only youth can have. They were not afraid of anything, and they said, let's go down to the beach and observe the waves. But because we were afraid that the waves would, you know, maybe catch us and perhaps take us into the water, we decided to tie ourselves with this rope. So I first tied the rope around myself, then we put my firstborn just a little bit down the rope from me, tied him around the waist, and finally the youngest one was at the bottom of the rope. So the three of us were completely connected by this rope, you know, which kind of, you know, symbolically probably reminds me of that umbilical cord. They say that, you know, each child or each person should cut their own umbilical cord at least twice in a lifetime. You know, first time when you're born, the doctor does it for you, and the second time you do it yourself when you decide to become an adult, to leave your, you know, home and start your own life. Again, it's very symbolical. And we felt kind of like that, you know. I mean, I felt like that. The kids were just having fun, and I should have known better, obviously. You know, we just felt it was fun, it was safe. We weren't really doing anything, you know, strange, just observing the waves while, you know, being tied by this rope so nothing happens, or if whatever happens to one happens to all of us. And then we decided to play this little game in which we would, you know, take a rock and throw this piece of rock, and you know, choose one or the other to go get it, while the other two would hold it, hold that person. And we did that for a little while until the youngest one, who was the most daring of all three of us, you know, actually got taken in by this huge wave that just appeared out of nowhere. So he completely got submerged into this wave, and the wave was that big that, you know, hit the second child too. So finally, it was basically just me standing on that beach for one very brief second. And I held on to that rope with my dear life. In that 1 second, a million scenarios went through my head. None of them really realized, nothing really happened. The wave came in and just soaked us completely, but at no point it was dangerous. It could have been, again, a million of things could have happened, but nothing really happened. The waters went back and they were dying of laughter. They felt it was really funny. I realized immediately that this is no longer fun. We need to move away from there. And of course, their mother saw this, and a passerby, this Korean gentleman who was walking around, they lost it. They started criticizing me for what I was doing, and I realized, okay, it's time to leave. So we did. We went back, you know, packed our things and went back home. But to this day, every time I see these huge waves like this, I remember the three of us being tied, you know, by that umbilical cord, exploring the beach, and the two of them being taken by the wave. Again, there's more symbolicism to this story, because whatever nature gives, the nature can take away if you're not careful enough. There you go. A little story from this beautiful beach. Let me see if I can actually turn around the video. I can't. It would have to be turned around before I started. You'll have to see the waves on your own. Love you. Bye.